How often do you feel lonely? Let's talk about it. The question we all ask ourselves. Have you ever felt lonely, even when you're surrounded by people? It's strange, isn't it? You could be in a room full of friends, laughing, talking, but somehow, deep inside, you feel like no one truly sees you. It feels like you're invisible, like you're just a background character in everyone else's story. But let me tell you something important. You are not alone in this feeling. In fact, loneliness is something almost everyone experiences at some point in their life, whether they admit it or not. The good news? It doesn't have to stay this way. Loneliness is just a chapter, not the whole book. And today we're going to talk about how to turn the page. Why do we feel lonely? Loneliness isn't always about being physically alone. It's about feeling disconnected. You could have hundreds of friends online, get tons of likes on social media, yet still feel like something's missing. That's because true connection isn't about numbers. It's about depth. When was the last time someone asked, "How are you?" and actually waited for the real answer? Or the last time you had a deep conversation that left you feeling understood? That kind of connection is rare these days, and without it, loneliness creeps in. Studies show that quality relationships, not quantity, are what make people truly happy. So instead of chasing more followers, more acquaintances, more distractions, what if we focused on real connections? The science of connection. Did you know that loneliness doesn't just affect your emotions? It actually changes your brain. When we feel isolated for too long, our brain starts to produce more stress hormones, making us feel anxious, tired, and even more withdrawn. It's a vicious cycle. The lonelier we feel, the harder it becomes to reach out. But here's the good news. Connection can rewire your brain in the opposite direction. When we engage in meaningful interactions, whether it's a heartfelt conversation, a hug, or even just laughing with someone, our brain releases dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. These are the feel-good chemicals that make us feel happy, safe, and connected. So yes, loneliness can be tough, but the power to break free from it is already inside you. It starts with a single step. Before we continue, I'd love to hear your thoughts. What do you think about this topic so far? Drop a comment below, and if you're finding this helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might find it insightful. Small actions, big impact. What if I told you that fighting loneliness doesn't take huge life changes? It starts with the smallest actions. A simple text, a phone call, a smile at a stranger. These tiny moments of kindness create ripples. One kind word can change someone's day, maybe even their entire life. Think about it. Have you ever had a bad day, and then one small thing, a friend checking in, a random compliment, a stranger holding the door for you, made you feel seen again? That's the power of human connection. It doesn't always take big gestures. Sometimes all it takes is showing up for others in little ways. And here's the best part. When you give connection, you receive it too. How to build real connections. So, how do we build real connections in a world that feels so disconnected? It starts with being present. Put down the phone when talking to someone. Listen, not just to reply, but to understand. Take the first step. Invite someone for coffee, ask deeper questions. Be the friend you wish you had. And most importantly, be open. Vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the bridge to real relationships. When you let people see the real you, you give them permission to do the same. You are never alone. Loneliness feels heavy, but connection is powerful. Right now, if you're feeling alone, I want you to remember something. You matter. There are people out there who care about you, even if you haven't met them yet. The world is full of connections waiting to happen, friendships you haven't made, laughter you haven't shared, memories you haven't created. So today, take one small step. Send that message. Call that friend. Say yes to that invite. And most importantly, never stop believing that you belong here, because you do. If this message touched you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. Let's create a world where no one feels alone.